Do you want to make 6 figures a year and consistently thereafter? Do you want to do it on your first year out of welding school? Well, we're going to talk about some ways that you can be successful and get that 6-figure a year welding salary. So Keegan, out of welding school a few years, and I know you hit that 6-figure a year salary, and a lot of people say, no, it's a myth. You can't make 100K. I've been welding for X number of years and it's not doable. But it is doable. So let's talk about some ways that you can make that happen. So what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is right now the US is short 300,000 welders. So that is on your side. You know that there's tons of work out there for welders and you can stay busy year round.
That's right.
So the main thing with that is stay busy your first year out or whatever. If you want to make 100,000 in a year, just stay busy. Don't wait for the really high paying jobs because the high paying jobs are few and far in between, okay? And they may be long or they may be short. So don't think that you're going to be on one job the whole year. Make sure that you just stay busy. So just stay consistently on jobs and on track for that. Don't wait for that golden egg job.
Right. So I'm going to look for a job that doesn't necessarily bring in 45, 50 bucks an hour. I'm going to look for a job that's going to be in the 30 range because I want hours. I don't want to go work 8 hours and then go back to the hotel or go back to the house.
Right.
I want to work 12s. I want to work 16s. I want to work 84 hours a week. I want to work 7 days a week. I want to take a 2-month job and cram a bunch of hours in there because the overtime and the double time is when your rates are really going to go through the roof. And I'm not saying, oh, you got to work 7 days a week, 18 hours a day for 365 days a year. But if you can hit a 2-month job like that and spend wisely, now you got a big chunk and it really gets you thinking about, oh, wait, now in a couple of weeks, I've had a week or two time off with the family.
Right.
A couple of weeks I can go back with that crew or go to the next job and look for something with lots of hours.
Right, and like you were saying, you may find a $45 an hour job and it may be 6 months or it may be 2 weeks, but just staying consistently on that job and getting hours in. And there's a lot of people that will say, well, why would you ever want to work that much? Why would you ever want to slave over that? And that's not really the point. The point is you have a goal to make 100,000 in a year. That's a pretty cool goal to reach.
Right.
But also is with that goal, you can set yourself up for the future. So if you make that money in the year, think of how much you could invest to your future. Think of how much you could do with that whenever you save it or invest it in 30 years. So that's the goal, is not to say the bragging rights to say you made 100,000 a year, but also the mindset and the discipline that you get from doing something like that carries the rest of your life, you know what I mean? And helping develop those skills to manage money and be able to make a lot whenever you want.
Right.
And something else important about that is there's a lot of people, including myself, I didn't work 12 months straight that first year I made 100,000. I worked like 8 months, I think. So it's just staying busy, finding the right job, and just managing your time with the jobs that give you the hours.
I think networking comes into a huge play. Finding that first job is always going to be a struggle, so don't set your bar so high. Find a job that pays some decent money with some decent hours, but network. You got to impress those people because they've been on that job, and let's face it, a lot of young welders out here are green. They don't have the experience that they need, so let's impress the foremans, and when you impress them, then they're going to say, hey, you know what, as we start laying off, we're going to keep you a little bit longer. And then when that plant is finally finished up with that project, a lot of those co-workers are moving to other companies, and a lot of those foremen are going to a different job site. And now you've got a network that you created through your hard work and dedication that you can call them up. So it keeps you busy and you keep people wanting to have you because they know you're a good hand.
And I think that's one of the most important things in this industry is being able to network, okay? A lot of people, they don't want to take a lower paying job because it doesn't make a lot of money, but here's the thing. On those lower paying jobs, there's going to be people at those lower paying jobs that are really in the higher paying jobs a lot of the time, but they may have missed out on a higher paying job or there might not be any going on. So those guys have to jump down to a lower paying job just to keep the money coming in. And when you get on those lower paying jobs, say your first job out of welding school, you'll meet these people. And if you're good at networking, if you're a people person, if you work hard and show them that you're a good welder and you want to succeed, they're going to help you out. So you can get their phone number and you can hit those guys up, because those are the guys that'll be getting you onto the bigger jobs, okay? Now, the bigger jobs are where the bigger money is, and those jobs aren't going to be posted online. They're going to be hearsay from the guys you meet on those lower paying jobs.
Right. And per diem is a big factor as well. Per diem can really boost your paycheck. Per diem can really boost the amount of money you're allowed to save, but you got to have your ducks in a row to get that per diem. A lot of young welders don't understand. They think, well, I live in Kentucky, for instance, and there's a job out in California, so I'm going to get per diem. And when they get out there, they've got no proof of residency, because more and more companies aren't going with just a driver's license. You can get a driver's license in several states, apparently.
Yes.
So you need some sort of a permanent residence utility bill. So if you're a young welder, go ahead and get your name on a utility bill with your parents, such as the water bill, the electric bill, and it's going to show the proof of residency. A lot of companies are doing a minimum 50 miles to earn the per diem, and then you can think about how you're going to spend your per diem money. Are you going to invest in a camper that you could sell later, or are you going to start hoteling it up, or do you like Airbnbs? But making sure you're drawing the per diem is the key here.
Yeah, and I always try to shoot for those higher per diem jobs, because that's where you make a lot of your money. And if you're trying to shoot for $100K a year, the per diem is going to help out a lot. So, for example, I would rather take a $38 an hour with a $160 per diem job over a $42 an hour with 80 per diem job. And depending on the hours would determine which one is better or not, but usually the jobs with the higher per diem is where you want to go. And also the days at which you're going to get per diem.
Correct.
So some companies may only pay days worked per diem. Some companies may pay 7 days per diem, doesn't matter if you work or not. So those are the things to keep in mind when you're trying to shoot for that $100K a year goal.
Yeah, and even those companies where you're pulling, those 7 days a week, working 16 hours a day, eventually even those companies will say, you know what, you've worked 13 days, you got to take a mandatory time off. And I think everybody needs that, whether it's to take a nap, whether it's hit the laundromat, or whether it's to just unload mentally, however you choose to do that. Maybe it's an Xbox, or maybe it's riding a dirt bike.
Right.
So staying focused throughout the year is going to keep those dollars coming in.
And there's also a couple other cool experiences too. When I was working in St. Croix, we was kind of outside the jurisdiction of the states and whatnot, so it was a really gray area. So they really didn't have a limit on how much we could work. So me and a couple other buddies, we're pretty young, we're pretty healthy. We worked 4 months straight of 7/12s, and so that's a lot of money coming in for that amount of time. So if you get an opportunity like that, don't take it for granted, but don't risk your health. So if you're able to do it and you're younger and you have a lot of energy and you get on a job where they really don't care how much you work, take it to the full potential. Work as much as you can, as long as you can, while still being safe and not depriving yourself of health.
That's right. Now on the flip side of that, really quick, not everybody's going to earn 100 grand. And if you set that goal and you don't make it, don't get discouraged.
Right.
Not every job is going to be that way. Not everybody has the skill set, the mindset, or the work ethic to do so.
And also in the economy, actually, the economy goes up and down.
Correct.
So some years it may be a bad year, some years it may be a good year.
I talked to a former student not long ago, and I said, hey, how are you doing? Are you getting close to 100K? Are you going to hit the 100K mark? And he said, no, I'm only going to be around 88,000 this year. And my first response was dang, that's close. And his response was, what are you talking about? I make more money than both of my parents combined. This is changing my life. He said, it's amazing how much money can be made in this career, but don't sell yourself short. If you come just under that, shoot for it again the next year and the next year. So over my career, I always had a goal. And when I got to that goal dollar amount, I would set it a little bit higher, and it would take me a year or two to achieve it, and I would set it a little higher, and it'd take me a few years to achieve it. So eventually, you keep setting the goal, and you'll get to a plateau where you think, all right, this is amazing, but never stop.
Right.
If you don't have something to go after, then you're never going to achieve that 100K.
And right out of welding school, 100K is very doable. If you have the drive, if you have the persistence to stay in it and stay working, the networking skills, and also Again, the US is short 300,000 welders right now, so there's plenty of welding jobs. Don't always try to go for the highest paying job. Just stay busy and get on the jobs and network.
That's right. So if you want to hit 6 figures a year, then have a good work ethic. Make sure you're checking on the per diem. Make sure you're working long hours and you still have time to relax. So it's all about networking, finding those great jobs. Hopefully this will help you get that career to make your bank blow up.
So hopefully you guys like this video. We'll be putting out more videos on our YouTube channel, so subscribe to that. And also check out our website. We have links and we also have shop for clothing and a virtual tour. Until next time, see you there.